Oh my goodness, it's your geezer Big Donny Cow here with the War Within Season 1 Demonology Warlock Guide. Ooh, we're gonna be blasting some spidery boys. So, first of all, I just want to quickly mention to you guys who want it quick and you guys who want the big explanation, yeah? So, at the start of each category, I'm just gonna tell you the base information you need, yeah? And then, I'm gonna explain it in the category. So, if you don't want to sit through all of it, then find timestamps, click them, watch the first little bits, and then you get the information you need. If you want to know why things work the way they do, then keep watching after that. Alright, let us get into the guide. Boom. So, here we are in the World of Warcraft. Gonna start off, first of all, by talking about the Demonology Warlock stats, yeah? So, what are our stat priority? Well, don't look at me because my character is horribly geared at the moment. However, we are prioritizing haste, then either crit or mastery, depending, and then versatility. As with always, for Demonology Warlock stats, you want to keep simming as there's so many different breakpoints as to where something will not be as valuable anymore. So like, say when your haste gets like 30% as an example, as we know there is a diminishing returns at that point, so you will be getting less value from haste and thus wanting to invest more into other stats. But yeah, so anyway, a description of why we want every stat. So haste is really good, especially when playing Diabolist, because the core of Diabolist is spending as many soul shards as we can, so we get more big demons, and those big demons deal more damage. So we cast faster, we build more soul shards, and we spend more soul shards. Amazing. Now, crit and mastery, both thought of on a level playing field. Why is that, you might be wondering? So, this is the second best stat, depending on if you're in single target or AoE. So, crit tends to be better for single target, and mastery tends to be better for AoE. Why is crit better for single target? Well, generally, some of your big one-hitters that do crit tend to come from your bolts, yeah? Or even your demon fire. So, when those crit, they tend to be the big crits of Demonology. Which is why, you know, if the single target spells have bigger crits, then crit is of course going to be bigger for single target, and not so much for AoE. Especially this is amplified by our tier set. Now, what does our tier set do? Well, it will give us the chance to get an extra bit of Shadow Bolt and Demon damage. So, 2 set. Primary Demon does more damage. Shadow Bolt damage increased by 50%, yeah? So, I'm not focusing on tier set right now, but to demonstrate about why crit is so potent, that Shadow Bolt damage being increased, when you get the crit off, that's really big damage. Especially when you get an Infernal Bolt from your Mother of Chaos being summoned. Which we'll go more into a bit later. So, that's why crit's really big for single target. As for AoE, well, in AoE scenarios, your pets tend to be doing all the damage, all the AoE damage. So, it's just simply put, you're getting more value from AoE. Like, the crits you'll get in AoE will be actually not so amazing, because the damage is all spread out. So, you'll be critting on part of the damage as before, but on single target, you'll be critting the full amount. Especially when you've got stuff like your Diabolist demons have the ability to, when they spawn, if there's one target, they'll single target it, but when there's multiple, then they'll spread their damage out around the targets. So it's dynamically changing. So, moving on to the next part. That was stats done. Now for gear. What sort of gear do we want? So, yet again, ignoring my character because, well, it's geared like a Muppet, mate. But, what we do want to get, overall for the season, we want our tier pieces, yep, our 4 set in, shoulders, chest, legs, and gloves, yeah? because there's a really good static piece for the helmet we can get. I don't have it at the moment, but it does exist out there. So, now, I said I'll talk about the tier set, I'll talk about it now. So, Primary Demon, increased damage, nice. Shadow Bolt, increased damage, nice. Buffing the crit. And Shadow Bolt has a chance to enrage your Fel Guard, increasing the damage of the Legion Strike by 300%. So, you know, this is very passive, and this is something you're not really going to play around. All it's really done has just made crit more valuable. Or at least for single target. Yeah. You kind of just don't have to think about this at all. You get the tier set. I think in total it's about... a 4 set is a 6% DPS increase for my character as of current. So, you know, it's still a decent gain, but it's not something to be like, oh, it's amazing. In terms of trinkets we want, if you'll excuse me while I bring it up, is of course the Arakara Sack Brood. This might change though, so I would advise consulting Blood Mallet, as I do hear nerfs are incoming as of the time of recording this video. And then we also want a couple from the raid, which are really good. Queen Annie, no, Queen Annie doesn't drop it, but there's some notable items. So Spy Master's Web. This is obvious by far. You want this. There's no way you don't want this. Yeah. Then some egg. That was it. This egg as well, I believe, is also one of the top trinkets to run. We do have some more notable items in the raid, however. So Wings of Shattered Sorrow, Abyss Cloak. Very solid, gives defensive capabilities. Seal of a Poison Pact, more damage for free. Pretty darn good. You definitely want to be getting this. And now there was, I believe, a neck somewhere with some special properties. Here we go, the Soreki Zealot's Insignia. Also another piece of gear that you want. The rest of your gear will most likely be figured out due to Sims. And the chances are with crafting that you'll be doing something like braces and an offhand is what people are thinking, with Ascendance and then the Nerubian buff patch, just like the Toxified Armor patch from Dragonflight. But, you know, it could change, so keep an eye on things currently changing, as this changes all the time throughout the season. I could give you a cookie cutter definition now, but I'd be lying to you, and anyone who does give you a definition now, probably it's going to get outdated. So keep checking it up, but currently, as recording, braces and offhand is the crafting way to go. Yeah, that's pretty much it for gear. So now that we're done with gear, let's talk about talents. So this is a guide for PvE. So I think first of all I'm going to do the Mythic Plus talents, then we're going to talk about the raid talents. So currently you may notice we don't have the 2 point, well, we don't have a point, sorry, I forgot there's a 1 point nose, my bad. We don't have a 1 point in Feeder Stride anymore. We do in raids, but for Mythic Plus we opt into Shadow Fury, and of course we now have this point in Pact of Gluttony, which is an insanely good talent. So I'd recommend this class tree. Some people do opt to go for Ichor of Devils instead, but I personally like the more frequent shields, as sometimes I do feel like, oh no, I'm dead. I could have done with another defensive. But that might be because my healers are just deciding not to heal warlocks. I'm calling you out! I'm calling you out, blood! Don't mess with me. Sorry, I might hit the mic down, my bad. Right. As for class talents, I'd highly recommend going with something like this. You can opt to like change some things out. But yeah, pretty much. I'd advise going with something like this. I wouldn't run stuff like Doom, because sometimes things can die a bit too quickly for Doom. And that, you need to just be paying more attention than multi-dotting. And And Grimoire Felguard, really, he only shines in single targets. So, yeah. I'm not going to get too worked up over that. As for hero talents, so we have either Diabolist or Soul Harvester. Personally, I'm running the Diabolist tree. I think it's much stronger, much more enjoyable. A Soul Harvester just seems to be passive added damage. However, it is still strong, and in terms of sims, you can get more out of Soul Harvester. Just as of current, it does seem like Diabolist is performing better. Especially for the general player. But, yeah, that's it for Mythic Plus. I'd also recommend keeping with Diabolist in the raid. So in the raid, you do drop Shadow Fury for Fiendish Stride. And these talents here, well, okay. I'm gonna get a bit more nerdy here, as the talents do change from boss to boss. So, what I'm gonna do here, call me Pirate Software, because I'm about to explain to you guys how this works with the use of MS Paint. I know, glorious. So you see a few colours here dotted on the screenshot. Basically, anything in orange tends to be taken more in AoE and cleave scenario, and anything in red tends to be taken more in a single target scenario. Everything which doesn't, like, which has been selected on this screenshot and doesn't have a circle around them, they are your core talents. You'll always be running these on every boss in the raid as of current tuning. It does seem like there's incoming tuning for Demonology though, so this could change, you know. I'm gonna get my green out for stuff which means like, this could be more popular. So I do think, so that's getting a buff, so that might be stronger. Demon Bolt's getting a buff, so the Soul Siphon buff, damage increase to that might be stronger. As with Fiendish Ablation, this could be a lot stronger as it gives you a demonic core. And then also just Felguard in general is getting a buff. So potentially we could see more power in these 5 talents as well. But the stuff in green, you know, this is for the future. It might be good, it might not. You have to keep an eye out on how the meta's changing. And I will try and put updates in the comments down below. Pin comment, the Big Donny comment will be down there. The comment of amendments. We always do it. And also any questions, of course, come to the Discord. I will help you out. But that does seem to be the variance for raid rotation. So, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my single target rotation. Currently, this is kind of the what of little bit of a mixed build, but still a focus on single target. But either way, your core gameplay never changes. Your core gameplay will always be setting up the big tyrant and cycling through as many diabolic rituals as possible. So, just waiting for me to get a second imp, as we're going to sacrifice them both. Pre-pull with the Shadow Bolt, send the demon in a bit early, go straight for the Charhound, build back up to full shard, send in the Dreadstalkers, do another Shadow Bolt and another one. Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan, get another Demon Bolt in, maybe, Hand of Gul'dan in maybe. Oh no, I might lose it, I might have been too greedy. Got the Tyrant in just before the Vile Fiend wore off. Boom, building up, get the Dreadstalkers out immediately, that is very important. Doing big damage. We've got our primary demons in on the big go. And yeah, we are absolutely blasting. Need to get the Charhound out. Burn my soul shards before pressing the Infernal Bolt, as it gives me 3 soul shards. Need to spend my soul shards and handle down very quickly. We do a full demonic cause. Very nice. Got the Pit Lord, do the Ruination, and we can back-to-back handle down for extra imps. Making sure also we are keeping up the Doom application through pressing Demon Bolt, which will also reduce the amount of time remaining on the Doom. Overlord coming out, letting us do some more damage in general. Very nice, all a very good feedback loop. And that is pretty much the core of Diabolist Demonology. You'll be having some demons passively come out to join you, which will change your rotation a little bit. So just bear in mind, Ruination from the Pit Lord will cost no soul shards and be like a full hand of Gul'dan, but with extra damage. Infernal Bolt will be a stronger Shadow Bolt, which gives you 3 soul shards, and that comes from the Mother of Chaos. And then the Overlord, Overfiend, whatever his name is, Overlord, yeah. He will basically just let you deal more damage. Now, if I could break free from combat, what I aim to show you next will be a bit of AoE. So I think we'll go up to... we could just do it here. But yeah, it is pretty simple with how Diabolist works. You just need to get used to reacting to the different procs. No, I'm still combat bugged. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to go for a run. But basically with AoE, you're kind of going to build, like, you're going to build your Tyrant as per usual. And you're going to use it to focus down, like, priority targets. But when you're doing big AoE, that's when you're just going to be pumping as much damage in as possible. Now, bear in mind, we are running Shadow Invocation, which means depending on the target count, will be, if you'll be doing lower shard hand of Gul'dans. Basically, higher target count, big AoE pools, you do the lower shard hand of Gul'dans. Right, so this build, we're not playing with any Doom. Gonna get right into it. Gonna show you with a Tyrant setup first. So, just getting all the demons out. I'm not as bothered by the Tyrant, like getting as many demons into the Tyrant. I just want the main demons, really. Getting the Demonic Strength straight away after the Tyrant for most AoE damage. I am not imploding while Tyrant is up. But I will be always imploding, making sure I have the Wicked War debuff on my enemies. Tyrant is over, doing the big implosion. Massive AoE damage. Look at that. Going insane. Keeping the Charhound up as much as possible as he does big AoE. Okay, Dreadstalker's coming out. Your Diabolist demons as well do massive AoE damage. One thing to note, you want to get a weak aura like this, which I can link in the description. And basically, when your imps are about to expire, boom, you put out the implosion. And yeah, it's pretty much it. Is your Tyrant setup still the same, but you don't need to be as worried by, you know, making sure the Tyrant's super juiced. But you will still be, yeah, trying to get the most out of putting your Dreadstalkers out, putting your Charhounds out, doing your implosions, try and get your Demonic Strength in a Tyrant window for extra damage. Don't implode during Tyrant window unless a pack's gonna die and you might as well. Don't waste the imps. And, yeah, that pretty much is. Oh yeah, and of course the low shard hand Gul'dans on big AoE. Definitely want to be going ahead and doing that. So, next thing I'm going to talk to you about now is consumables. So, alchemy, of course, is providing some of our best consumables with potions. Always is. So, what are we looking for? Our main flask is most likely going to be Flask of Tempered Swiftness for the extra haste. Very solid flask to go for. In terms of potions, we want to be running the Tempered Potion, as it does increase all the rest of your secondary stats. So that's going to increase everything but haste. Very solid. As haste is already increased by your flask, you're not so bothered about not getting the extra haste. Yeah, pretty good. And I think if a primary stat one were to come about, it'd definitely end up being this, especially later in the season. Or sorry, in the expansion. Engineering actually has some good potion bombs. Normally you'd want to run like a potion bomb of power. Just increases primary stat and lets you just blast that little bit harder. In terms of enchants, you're pretty much picking up anything which will give you extra primary stat. So radiant power on your weapon is what you want to go for. Your ring enchants you always do based off of sims. It's the easiest one to change. So depending on how your gearing goes, like this one's malleable. Do it on your best stats until you get too much of your best stat from your gear, then swap it on down the list of priorities. Keep simming though. Then yeah, any tertiary stats you want something between speed and avoidance. Like, of course, one reduces the damage you take, and one makes it easier to get out of mechanics. And seeing as you're hard casting a lot, that's a godsend. Gems as well. You're just gonna keep changing the stats based on what stats you got in your gear. And yeah, that pretty much is it. Like, primary stat prio, getting the like the secondary stats dependent on what you've got. Yeah, there's kind of not more to say about that. Oh yeah, and the speed and leech. So speed and avoidance, not leech. Leech sucks for you. Don't get leech. It actually just, nah. We don't care about leech. But yeah, no, that is my Demonology: The War Within guide for season 1. Whoa, ain't that crazy? Actually, I wanna get on a cool amount. Let's find a cool little peak to wrap up this video, stream? Oh, lovely, lovely. So, stream, that is the end of my guide. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section down below. Also, do check the comment section down below for any changes that may have happened due to future information, which is present for you, but is future for me right now. Yeah, no, thanks a bunch for watching. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Sweet!